I am sat in a random industrial parking lot in front of a home store and an In-N-Out burger. But I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about the importance of becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable and jumping out of your little box that you put yourself in, whether subconsciously or consciously. We all tend to get in a place where we feel good and stay there for far too long. There's a lot of ways to take what I'm about to say, but I just think from personal experience and life recently, there's been a lot. Like this past year has been crazy, and I know everyone has their New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff, and people like to wait until January 1st to become a new person or whatever it is. But there's a common saying that's you need to act like the person you want to become, because it really isn't an act. If you start to, let's say, I want to be a really educated like businessman or something like that, and I want to look a certain way, I want to dress a certain way, I want to talk a certain way, whatever. But I want to do that by the time I'm 30, whatever. And every day you live, you're not consciously thinking about becoming that person. You'll probably never get there. You'll look up, you'll be 30, and you won't be where you thought you wanted to be, because that's just like an empty dream, not really a goal. But it might not be comfortable. You might not be in a place right now to be a businessman. I might not have the money I want for the wardrobe. I might not do that. But the little things you can do each day to become that person will literally help you morph into that person. It might start as maybe an act. Some people say fake it till you make it. I think people take that term the wrong way, and it should be spun more so as act like who you want to become. What I mean by that is, like, if I want to become a well-educated and a well-versed businessman, for lack of a better term, by 30, today, what can I do today to look like that person or look like that version of myself? I might start reading books right now to help me kind of expand my mental fortitude or whatever it is. I might, sound stupid, but if I want to expand my lexicon, I'll learn new words, I'll talk differently, whatever it is. I'll carry myself in a way that I want to be perceived, because people will treat you how you tell them to treat you. People hate to talk about how appearance shouldn't matter and this and that and how it's shallow. Whatever it is, we're humans. By nature, we are designed to judge things from afar to gauge how safe they are to approach. And in modern times, that's developed into judging people based on how they look. And I'm not talking about skin color here and nothing like that. I genuinely mean how you carry yourself. You can go anywhere, whether you're on a plane, whether you're checking into a hotel, whether you're applying for a job or a loan or whatever. How you walk in and how you carry yourself will determine how much respect that person across from you will give you. I've heard stories of people who, like flight attendants, saying like, "Oh, when we have like guests that come on and they're dressed nice, we treat them a certain way." Or if you ever noticed, there's the common kind of cliche story of the person who went into the dealership and they didn't look like they could afford anything and they didn't get any attention. And I hate that personally. I think it's horrible. But the reality is, that's how people treat you, is how you tell them subconsciously to treat you. If I see a person who obviously puts effort in something, I'm going to give him that level of respect just off rip, subconsciously, whatever it is. And so make sure that you are working towards a goal instead of a dream. And goals are something that I'm really trying to work on and harp on. Some people like love to talk about manifestation and how important it is to speak what you want into existence. And I'm like a testament of that. A lot of the things, and my friends will tell you, a lot of the things I'm a dreamer by nature. So like, I sit and I just think about, man, what if this happened, or what if we could do that? And I'll have, back in the day, I have my homies be like, bro, there's no way that's gonna happen, whatever. And not even in a negative way, just like you're thinking really outside the box. And we find ourselves 5 years later, doing things that we couldn't have dreamed of or whatever it is. Or, people talk about in the beginning of the year, write down, 5 goals, 10 goals you want to achieve by the end of the year. And even if you just write them down and kind of don't revisit them. Now, you should look at them like regularly, but in my case, I started doing that a couple years ago, and I'm kind of slacking this year. I haven't written anything down, but about like I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I wrote down 5 things I wanted to accomplish by the end of the year, And by the time the next year came and I was talking to my friends about some of our goals, I looked at my list from the previous year and realized that I had achieved almost all of them, um, subconsciously. And people say, making intentions on accomplishing things will help you achieve them. But even more than that, I think Denzel Washington said it best. He was like, and forgive me because this is not going to be a direct quote, but he said, "Dreams without goals are just dreams." Something along the lines of, you need to set goals to attain those dreams, because if you never set goals, there's no benchmark for you to work towards it, and so it'll always be a dream. Um, for example, like I'm working on becoming a pilot, and dream is to one day fly private jets or whatever it may be. But if I don't set the goal that, okay, this year I need to finish my instrument rating or my commercial rating, or by May I want to have 200 flight hours, whatever it is, if I don't set those goals, a year will go by, 2 years will go by, and I'll still not be a pilot. So it's important to set the goals along with the dreams, but also don't be afraid to dream. Um, there are a lot of people who are in situations where they feel like they're trapped or they're stuck and they just can't get a break. I've been, in a situation like that recently. I have friends and family who feel like they are in those situations as well, whether it's financial, whether it's familial, or like whether it's, friends, it's, you're losing people, whatever it is. Like, life can be really hard, and a lot of people don't realize what others are going through. And so it's really important to, I think, I feel like I'm kind of bouncing around here. I'm trying to stay on the topic of becoming uncomfortable. Um, but comfortability will get you stuck. Like, time will pass you by. Like, I'm young, but I'm starting to feel old. Like, I'm gonna be 25 this year, and I'm looking back at, like what feels like a couple years ago. Like high school, I would have started high school 10 years ago, and that is crazy to me. But if you don't do things to propel yourself to the next level, time will bypass you just like that, and you'll be in the same place that you were last year. That's my biggest fear at this point, because I'm already kind of hard on myself, and I think like, oh, I should be farther along on this journey or farther along on this, but I kind of have to like reassess myself and say, hey, are you in the same place you were last year? No, well, that's an improvement. And there's a bunch of little sayings, 1% better every day, this, and that. But long story short, what I'm trying to get at is, it is very important to remain some level of uncomfortability. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're like, if you can do your daily routine and you can just do it with your eyes closed, you're too comfortable. Like, you need to try something new, experience something new, and work towards something new. And I think maybe this is more so a note to myself than anybody else, but don't feel like it's the end just because it's the end. It sounds stupid, but the best part about being at rock bottom is the only way is up. What I'm trying to say here is, never give up, which is so cliche. I'm trying really hard not to talk about cliches in this, but just speaking from my experience, man, these past couple years have taught me a lot. I'm in the middle of trying to learn new skills and try new things, and overall just become a well-rounded person. I think the best thing you can be is a well-rounded person, and the best thing you can be is kind. I've been told many times I'm too nice. I give too much grace to people. I let too many things slide, and I'm working on that. There's a nice balance to have, but I'd far much rather be too nice than too mean. So in closing, I'll say this, because I've already been talking for 10 minutes. Learning how to be uncomfortable is a skill that will determine the difference between someone good and someone great. Learning how to be uncomfortable and adapt is so important. It's so important. Trying new skills, new experiences, new things, you will be uncomfortable. It will feel like you don't know what you're doing. You will feel like you don't know anybody in a new place. Let's say you get a new job. You don't, like, if you're applying for a new job, right? You're not going to go apply for the exact same job you already had. Otherwise, you might as well should have just stayed. You're going to apply for a new job that pays you a little bit more probably, and is probably a little bit higher up on whatever the skill range is that you're working on. And so when you get into that new role, you're going to be happy because you're making more money. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to know anyone in your department. You're going to feel like you're like the odd man out because you don't know how things work there. And you're going to be learning new skills. But your ability to learn and adapt and be comfortable with being uncomfortable will determine how successful you are in work, in life, in relationships, in love, in everything. So my homework for you is to set goals that you can actually achieve, short term, long term. What do you want to accomplish this year? Think about, sub note them with, how do you achieve them? What are the things you can do every day or every week or every month to work towards that goal by the end of the year? You know, working out is an easy example. If you want to lose 10 pounds in 6 months, what can you do every day to make sure that happens? If you want to save $10,000 by the end of the year, what can you do to save that money? Whether it's picking up freelance jobs or side jobs, whether it's cutting some things out of your budget and not going to Starbucks every day. What things can you do to work towards that goal? It will help you ultimately achieve that dream. So definitely set goals. I'm talking short term for the year, long term for the 4, 5, 6, 10 years. 5-year plans are great. I made one some years ago, and I subconsciously have achieved almost everything I wanted to achieve on that, and I didn't even realize it until I looked over it this past year, because it's time for me to draft a new one. And recently, I drafted a vision board, and it's kind of, a lot of really fun and adventurous and expensive things on there, but things that I want and motivate me to want to be more successful. And I truly believe that, like, if you can see it, you can achieve it. And so surround yourself with thoughts and ideas that are beyond your current position. The worst thing you can do is surround yourself with people, places, environments, and situations that are at or below your level. If we're all on the same level, we'll never excel. Try to get out and talk to new people, make new relationships, meet mentors, meet anybody that you can soak something up from, learn from, and any experience you can gain will ultimately help you in the end. Even if it's something you hate, now you know you hate it, and now you know people who are in it, so that when you do need it, you don't have to do it. I probably said long story short 4 or 5 times throughout this, but this is like another little thing I'm probably going to do once or twice. Hey, there's a cat. Once or twice a week or a month, something like that. You'll be seeing more of these videos from me, because sometimes, you don't really have anyone to talk to, so you turn on the camera. And I think that some people might need to hear some of this stuff. If you have no one to tell you this, I'm proud of you. Keep going. And as my boy TJ Hunt would say, keep moving forward. You heard that?